If you guys have never heard of this game before, that's quite all right. But if you have, let's roll the intro and I'll kind of explain what is going on here. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cattle and Crops. If you don't know what this game is, this was considered the longtime competitor of Farm Sim that just never really caught on. Now, for certain reasons, I'm going to tell you that there are some things that you and I, as players of farming simulations, have been looking for in games, especially like Farm Sim 25, that this game blows Farm Sim out of the water on. Jumping into our menus, I'm going to take a peeky-weeky at some of my ground here. I believe I went way over. Yes, I went overkill on what I'm trying to do here, but I'm trying to learn how to play the game. We're in the spring season, and I need to try and get this ground as good as I can. It's got nothing for phosphate, nitrogen, or potassium in the soil. So right away, you can already see that this is miles above what Farm Sim does. But looking at it, we want to get 175 pounds of nitrogen, 76 pounds of phosphate, and 172 for potassium. You can see I tried putting phosphate on this one field, and we went way above the line, as shown, right there. I've been playing around on this game for just a little bit to try and figure out some of its game mechanics, and one thing that stands out to me far above anything Farm Sim's been able to do is the feeling of how these vehicles drive. Ag machinery is like really powerful but really slow, and I feel Cattle and Crops really captured how these vehicles feel when they're driving. Ground deformation is actually really cool in this game when you're in the field. Trying to get started, some of the key bindings are a little bit different from Farm Sim, so I'm trying to understand where the line's at, and I think I actually might be right on the money. So learning from my past mistakes, we are going to not do what we did to the field off to my right, and get this field prepped to plant corn. My goal is to be able to harvest corn in this video. We're just going to try and put one layer of the phosphate down and see if that helps us with our application rate. Now, I don't intend to make this a series of any sorts, but if you guys do like this toss-up change of videos, just trying out some other games, be sure to possibly hit down below. Maybe you consider dropping a like, possibly subscribing, helping us to that goal of 100,000 public subs by the end of the year. If you guys can make out down there in the bottom left, look at how it shows where we have spread and where we have not, and where we are overspreading. That is why the other field got screwed up. I didn't really know what these levels were doing, and I didn't know how to read this. So it is awesome that I'm able to really see all this information and know how I'm actually taking care of my farm ground. Looking at 16, we did overdo it on the phosphate, but our nitrogen and potassium are sitting roughly in the ranges it looks like we're going to be able to get away with. Probably was using the wrong kind of fertilizer. There's like 6 kinds of fertilizer, and I was trying to figure out which one was what. Let me know down below, guys, have any of you ever played Cattle and Crops? I want to know, and I want to know your take on it if you have. The thing I've noticed most about the game is how much information it actually holds. This is like Farm Sim on steroids. It's a more complex version that for people who are in the industry can understand, but for those that are not, probably you're going to get thrown for a loop. We're going to jump in the Deutz Fahr, and we're going to see if we can actually plant corn. I'm pretty sure we should be able to. Like I said, the end goal is to be able to get in that thing and harvest corn. With a full tank of seed and a Deutz Fahr to lead the way, we're going to try and plant ourselves some corn, and then I want to show you guys what the menus look like. So if you're in my shoes or somebody who has no idea what they're doing, this is their first impression they get on the game. I'll be very curious to know if this game has a quote-unquote row crop ready look to it, or if it's like Farm Sim where it plants it just in patches. I just love the way the ground textures work, because it's like if Spin Tires and Farm Sim had a kid, and you can just see the difference between, like, this is planted ground, that's non-planted ground, but it gives that visual difference, unlike Farm Sim where you can't really tell sometimes. Farm Sim's textures, depending on the map and the modder, can definitely look different. But the feeling of an actual terrain is what I'm liking about this. And I know we get to look forward to that in 25, because FS25 will have this kind of a ground deformation. I will be doing 2 headland passes, as I don't believe one's going to be able to be enough. So let's drop the planter and keep going.
A few moments later.
Pulling the last pass, and this field is done. Luckily, there's not a lot bigger fields than what we're driving in currently. Sadly, I cannot expand the boundaries of the field to get it closer to the roadside. The plow does not let me do that. Hang on. I'm rolling away. If we look at our map, the biggest field that's probably on this map, either like a field like that, or maybe even like one of these guys in the middle. So we're not working with too big of terrain, but that is the biggest planter you can buy. So if we had to plant any 4X maps fields, that would be pretty dang rough. Just because I myself am trying to figure out how this game actually works, I'm gonna only plant the one field. We do at least have a pressure washer on the farm, so if we wanted to keep everything as handy clean as possible, it's sitting there ready to go whenever. The only real complaint that I have for the interactiveness on this game is how much it kind of takes away from just trying to play the game simplistically. Let's put the sprayer on the smaller Kloss tractor, and then we'll be able to understand some of the game mechanics a little bit better. Taking a look at things like the weather, finances, employees, animals, the store, and that wonderful profile picture. The hardest thing that I am trying to grasp on this game is look at the amount of information that you get by playing this game. From a very simple bystander's field of view, this is like so far above my knowledge of what these fields are actually about. Grant would know so much more about all of this, and I kind of almost wanted to reach out to him to ask him like some of the questions before I recorded this, but I disregarded against it because I'm going to try and do this on my own. So I think the best we can do is to head to the store, and we can really start throwing your guys' mind for a loop, at least of us that aren't in the agriculture field, and show you just the amount of detail this game has to it. I've noticed these tractors drive probably a little too fast, but it feels like you're going quick. This thing is able to go like 38 miles an hour. I think this tractor would top out at either 26 or 32. Here's another one for you. If there's a car that's coming in the oncoming lane, usually in Farm Sim, you just get sent to the moon because the car has like no giving collisions. So there's just a vehicle you slam into. In this game, the car will actually pull off to the side of the road, and I feel that if you actually try to like run into this car, it'll move it backwards. Like the car has give. It's just nobody wants to drive today. Nobody wants to get hit with a head-on collision with the tractor. Is that how it is? Come on, give me something to hit.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Here's one. Here's our first contestant. So watch this. See, they try to like get off to the side of the road, but you can just obliterate them. Kind of a horrible example, but you get the point. They actually try to dodge you. Now that's a better example. Now that I finally got to the co-op, I can show you guys why this can be sometimes really confusing. Does the co-op like not supply... What? Does the co-op not supply spray? Could I have played the tutorials and actually learned how to play the game so I could make a very nice, concise video? Absolutely! But what would be the fun in that? Watching me struggle 6 times funnier. On the road again. Possible place to fill up sprayer number 1. This little spot down here. I ran by this spot earlier and I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. That's a water place. You can get water. But can I get it for the sprayer? Aha! This is where you get it. Nice! I bet you farmers wish they could get that for $946 on a tank. Look at the detail, man. Look at that detail. With the size of our fields, I'm not even going to fill the whole thing up because I know I'm not going to need it. Wait, hang on a minute. Let's see that animation again. Hang on. I want to see it. Nice! That's cool. Now that we have our spraying chemical, let's head back to the farm and we'll zoom ahead a bit till we get to where we can spray. Before we quite possibly get struck by the might of Zeus, I want to show you guys this. So with the cattle and crops, you actually could like interact with the computer. But look at these different kinds of fertilizers. But there's like a couple different kinds and they tell you the values that it'll do. but there's like 3 of those. There's the phosphate that we spread earlier. Got a granular PK. Hey, I'm trying to talk here. Got chalk, urea, which is in American farming, super phosphate, and then we go back to another granular, slurry, digestate, sewage, and we're finally back to what I think is the stuff that's in the sprayer. So yeah, there is quite a lot to unpack when you're playing this game. Okay, get in the tractor. That's loud. That's loud. Let's take a look at our map. I want to see our field data and if it actually is growing. Because if the cornfield is growing, then we're doing good. Growth is getting pretty close. We're sitting at about, what, 70-ish percent? 65%? This would be like Grant's favorite thing, but it also kind of get annoying. The ability to start the tractor from a key inside. That's pretty cool. Moment of truth. Does this game plant corn the way you actually planted it? Oh, it does! Like, just roughly looking at it, it looks as though it planted the way I planted. What I'm doing is probably all wrong, and you're not supposed to do anything like this while it's raining, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm curious. All right, corn. I'll make this quick so you're not suffering over here. This should just be 2 quick passes and I'm done. Good enough, good enough, good enough, good enough. Yay, corn cobs in the cab. Because it is raining, I do want to hook up the Deutz-Fahr to our disc and see if while it's raining, we do get some interesting ground effects. Because if we could almost get quote-unquote stuck in the mud because it's raining, that's some really good game physics. I also will have to look at the map and see how the nitrogen application works for that field. I thought I knew some things about farming, but this game has clearly proven me wrong, because there is so much more that I wasn't even able to begin to understand. I like how the stuff does look wet, though. That's pretty cool. We got mud on the tires. This one's got mud, and this is still dirty, so is this just regular dirt? It is just regular dirt. What happens when I drive it outside, though? Does it become mud? Well, it doesn't look like it right off the bat, but let's get this on the cultivator. I don't want to mess with the field to the right of me because that's the one that's like, I realize that fertilizing it too much is kind of a problem, so we're going to jump to one field, I think to the north? Yes, I get it. It's raining, it's thundering, it's lightning. We're doing all the things that you shouldn't do while it's raining. Ooh. All right. Gets a little angry. Now we're getting muddy. Look at that buildup. I know for some of you guys, the farm sim sounds aren't really the most realistic. It really just sounds more like brutal. Like there's actually metal clanking and things are ripping and... I don't know. It just feels more real. Let's go ahead and jump to harvest season and see what that's going to look like for us. Gotta run, 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 gotta run. Trees look a lot fuller, especially for being October. Dang, this is like actually nice trees. The corn doesn't look done yet, but it's showing on the monitor that it's pretty dang close. Why is it really short? That don't make no sense. You know, I realize that month 8 is actually August, not October. I mixed the names of the months up, and now I also mix the numbers of the months up. Why you still short and green? Okay, let's try this all again. Can we get this to work? Also, I'm curious, does the cameras work on this? Oh, they do! Okay, so for some odd reason, the corn's still short, and it doesn't look like it's ready. I'm curious to know if that means it's just either bugged or I broke something. Because there is a very likely chance that I broke something because of all the different application stuff. In the nicest way possible, I have no idea what I'm looking at down here. We got 100% seeded. Cultivated none. Medium silt clay. Yeah. Alright, I guess I'm just gonna try this. Because I don't know really what else to do. It's harvesting. That's for certain. It looks like garbage going in, but it's harvesting. Now, as a conversion rate, we got 54 gallons in the tank, which a bushel is like a 5-gallon bucket, so that's 10 bushels of corn through that much. I guess it's not terrible. It'd be nice to have it where I could actually see the corn cobs being above the cab, but yeah, I really don't know what's going on here. And I don't want to say that because I put phosphate down it had that big of an impact, but I mean, anything's really possible. Now, don't freak out. I skipped ahead another day because I wanted to see if I could fix the lighting. The corn still hasn't fixed itself, and I swear, I think I did something to this corn because I did a mission where I planted the corn and then it skipped ahead enough in time that I could see it fully ready to harvest. So this corn can be fully tall and brown and ready to go, but it's just not doing it for me. We're also only at, what, a quarter tank? This is not good. I think I did something horribly wrong to this field, and I guarantee you it has to do with that fertilizer application that we did. Something I did find cool is that the header that you're able to use in this game is a Gearinghoff. Gearinghoff is the same header brand that Andy uses out on his farm with his 7088. Only have a little bit left to do on this field. It's just kind of disappointing. I know I didn't put a whole lot of effort into this, but I think I'm just confused as to what happened, and I don't have an answer as to what happened. I'll still do a bit of tillage work so that way we can reset the soil, but that is just really interesting. I won't even begin to dig into the cattle part of this game, as I know that's another huge driving factor about why this game was pretty popular. But there's just so many components that, in my eyes, as a person who thought he knew how to farm, it can really confuse somebody really, really fast as to how to get just lost in the game's mechanics. Are you ready, kids? Aye, aye, Captain. There is a third-person camera, but it's a little interesting. Everything about this game is really just kind of interesting. Already got the trailer hooked up to the tractor. We just need to run it under the pipe. Wait, do I have to, like, physically unload it myself in the combine? That's cool. Maybe. Oh. Look at those textures, baby. That is something. Like FS11 mixed with FS22. Because look, you can make it like sway. But look at those graphics, man. That is awesome. I'm off to see the wizard, the wonderful Wizard of Oz. I don't know what the heck happened there, but that was weird. Where I'm actually supposed to sell this, I have zero clue. I like how I'm playing this game by ear, but I also really don't like how I'm supposed to play this game by ear. I think we're probably having to sell it at that grain trader. So pretty much right by where we buy the tractors. This thing can boogie, though. That is for certain. This tractor can book it. Look at this thing go. Jesus, we are moving. How fast are we going? We're going 42 miles an hour. This thing is moving. Navigating this map's not the most difficult thing on planet Earth, but it certainly is not the easiest. I think this is it. We just gotta drive through, maybe. Oh yeah, I think this is it. Oh, of course I picked the wrong one. Dang it. Yeah, pretty sure that's where we sell. Making a U-turn. See what side this trailer dumps out of. That'd be kind of cool. If it's true that we can get $2,700 for 136 bushels of corn, that is absurd. Holy cow. Farmers would be having a field day if they could get that much money for corn. I do like that corn dump texture, though. That is cool. 136 bushels of corn sold for $2,700. That is nuts. Let's head back to our corn ground and try and get that cultivator out there and clean up the seed bed. Alright, let's see if we can clean this field up a little bit. That's looking better. I would try and look through all these menus to see if I can identify what could have went wrong with this corn, but it's just a little too complex for my head to grasp. And cut ourselves a path right across the middle so we can start going back and forth. I did the outskirts so I could at least have a place to turn around. Might not really help when I didn't do that side. It'll be alright though. We'll figure it out. If this is a game that actually does interest you guys because you know more about the farming and you want to get a lot more in-depth with your gameplay, I'd highly recommend checking out Cattle and Crops. Like, this game is awesome, but just to the common person's mind, it is just kind of a real trick to really kind of understand and grasp the concept. This tractor also needs to like just stay in third gear and call it a day. It's kind of driving me nuts that it keeps fighting back and forth between like fifth gear and first gear, and it takes a while to get going. I will say that you are pretty limited in the amount of equipment you can use. There are mods for this game, but I really don't know how to A, install them, or B, where to find them, so I just went with the base game. And with the money that the game gave me right at the start, I was able to buy some relatively big equipment. That might have been because I I started on the sandbox mode. Not sure what the career mode would have done, but I'd give the game, out of 5 stars, I'd give it 4. There's a lot of great things about it, but there's also a lot of things that I could see needing improved, solely for the fact that it's not a game that you can really just pick up and start playing and play it right. It's a game that you probably really would have to dig into the tutorials to understand the game mechanics of how the game works, but also how farming in real life really works. So it's a great teaching game. Hopefully she only have a few more passes, then I might clean off the equipment and we'll probably round out our day. Of course, when I finish out cultivating the field, the lighting in the actual game starts to look a little bit more bright and vibrant. That's alright though, because I think we finished out all of our tasks for the day. As I stated a little bit towards the middle of the video, guys, if this is a game that you think that you might actually enjoy playing for the sake of learning a bit more about farming, it's a really more integrated version of Farm Sim. Obviously, 2 completely different companies, 2 completely different mindsets, but it really does strike a chord with those that want to learn more about the ag field. This is going to be all for us today, guys, so be sure to check out the rest of all the farming playlists that can be linked up in the top right-hand corner, whichever one I choose. Remember to keep it light, keep it loose, keep it fresh, and most importantly, keep it fun. We shall see you guys all in the next one. This is the Rental Man out.